Hello, everybody, again. Happy Monday. I hope that you guys are all doing fantastic. If you have not met me before, my name is Sydney Szczesniakowski, and I am your wellness tech here at the county. A little bit about my personal background and why we're talking about what we're talking about today. I've been a personal trainer for 3 years, and I have my master's in exercise science. And my personal passion project is strength training. So I am super excited to talk to you guys about strength training, especially throughout your decades, throughout your life as a woman, how it benefits you in a bunch of different ways. And if at any point you have any questions, you can always pop them in the chat or speak up, whatever you're most comfortable with. All right, so just a quick breakdown of today and how it's going to go in today's presentation. We're going to kind of go over what is strength training, what does that even mean, especially to anybody who is unfamiliar, just some common myths that I hear a lot that may be prohibiting you from starting your own strength training journey, the different needs at different stages of life, how you can get started on your strength training journey, some resources, and then we'll finish off if there are any questions at the end. So first things first, what is strength training? So I have 3 different definitions here, and I threw in Hinge Health because if you guys are not familiar, that is one of our partners for digital physical therapy. So starting off with Merriam-Webster definition, this is super basic, just talking about activities that make the muscles stronger. Fair enough, fair. Goes into Wikipedia definition, so exercise designed to improve physical strength. Okay, great, super in depth. Then moving into Hinge Health's definition, which I thought this was really great. So it improves the strength and endurance of muscles by exercising a specific muscle or group of muscles against some type of resistance, such as dumbbells, resistance bands, weight machines, or one's own body weight. And I really like this definition because it talks about your body using some type of resistance. So a lot of people think, maybe you can't build strength with just your own body, but that is a form of resistance depending on how you're using it, at what stage you are in your fitness journey, especially. So just some little photos down here. Yoga is also a form of strength training. Any type of resistance that you are actively working against with to build strength. And then just some common myths real quick that we're going to talk about, and I'm sure that you guys have heard these before. So starting off with my least favorite one, lifting weights will make me bulky. And if you've thought this, that's perfectly fine. If you have thought any of these, that is perfectly fine. A lot of these myths come from, in my opinion, kind of social media as well as your generational differences as well. So something maybe that you grew up hearing around kind of can shape how we view fitness. So that's kind of where I pulled these myths from, as well as my own personal experience. So the reality of this first one is that most women do not naturally produce enough testosterone to build large, bulky muscles easily at all. And instead, strength training typically creates a lean, more toned muscle and improves overall body composition. It is important to note, it is perfectly okay to want a more muscular and bulky look. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, achieving significant muscle size takes years of consistent, intentional training and nutrition, and not just lifting weights a few times a week. So getting to maybe a bodybuilder physique doesn't just happen to people. It is something that you intentionally seek out and train for. And so this should not be a aesthetic deterrent for anybody. Number 2, cardio is better for weight loss. The reality of this one is cardio is super important. It is super important for heart health, and it can help burn calories as well. But building muscle through strength training has a greater long-term impact on your body composition. And when I say body composition, that is just the ratio of muscle to fat. Ideally, we want more muscle than fat because of the benefits that come from having more muscle. Muscle is also metabolically active tissue, meaning it helps you burn more calories at rest and helps maintain a healthy weight over time. So for overall weight management, strength training is absolutely essential for preserving muscle while losing fat, leading to a leaner, healthier physique. So cardio is super important, but it is not the end all be all, especially when it comes to weight management. Number 3, strength training isn't safe for older women. This one couldn't be farther from the truth and the reality. Strength training is actually one of the most effective ways to protect your bone density, to protect you from falls, and to maintain muscle mass and mobility, especially as we age. So with proper instruction and care, just like with anything, slow down, take your time, relax for a second. It is a safe and critical tool for healthy aging. So you may not jump straight into some barbell back squats, but doing some body weight squats or doing some squats with some dumbbells resting here on your shoulders, it's perfectly safe as long as you take your time, especially at first whenever you are learning form and technique. Again, it's like with anything, practice makes perfect. Not strength training is the real risk here. So avoiding resistance exercise accelerates muscle mass, bone loss, increases frailty, and raises the risk of falls, fractures, and ultimately loss of independence, especially in older age. Maintaining strength supports your daily activities, balance, and just overall quality of life. Lastly here, lifting heavy is dangerous for women, especially in the personal training fitness space. I have encountered many women who do not want to pick up heavier weights, whether they're scared, it's dangerous, they don't want to get bulky. You see all of these myths they kind of work together to deter women from strength training in general, when the reality of this last point is when performed with proper technique, appropriate progression, so you're not jumping to 50 pounds, maybe start a little bit lighter. And as you become more comfortable and confident, working your way up, and maybe even supervision when needed. Lifting heavier weights is safe and highly beneficial for women of all ages. And on the flip side, only lifting light weights indefinitely limits progress. Muscles need progressive overload, which just means gradually increasing resistance over time to adapt, grow stronger, and provide lasting benefits. Think of it as if you only pick up 3-pound dumbbells for 5 years, that's all you're lifting. Why would you assume then that you could lift more than 3 pounds? It's kind of what makes the most sense for you. Most things you pick up are more than 3 pounds, even grocery bags. So avoiding heavier weights out of fear can lead to plateaus in strength, limited muscle gains, and ultimately missed opportunities for improving functional capacity. So those are our common myths. I'm sure you guys have heard them before, and I hope you have a little bit better of an understanding about why all of those work together and kind of deter women from strength training and why they're not true. So these are the different stages that we're going to focus on today: adolescence, young adulthood, reproductive age, perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. Now, while these have different ages for different people, for human, I have age ranges on the following slides that kind of puts them into perspective. But again, say you're in one of those age ranges and you're like, I'm not perimenopause. I'm not telling you that you are. It's just kind of a helpful range. So don't worry about it. So adolescence and young adulthood. So this is teens into your mid to late 20s. Even if you aren't currently in a particular life stage that we're discussing today, get a little chat real quick. We'll address that one in a minute. Okay, so even if you aren't currently in a particular life stage that we're discussing, the chances that you know somebody who is, whether a daughter, granddaughter, parent, niece, friend, or even coworkers like we are all today, by understanding all of these unique benefits of strength training at every age, you are better equipped to support not only yourself, but the women in your life in building strong, healthy habits. We are all part of a larger community, and we all rely on each other to live the strongest, healthiest lives that we can. So sharing knowledge and encouraging healthy habits across generations benefits us all. So if you're not in one of these stages, I don't want you to tune out entirely. Just be aware of the information that is being given to you today. So in here, development of peak bone and muscle mass. So the body is primed to build muscle efficiently during these years. Building muscle early creates a higher baseline of lean mass, which supports a faster metabolism throughout life. Women naturally have less muscle mass than men. So strength training helps to optimize strength and functionality early on, which pays off with better mobility and injury prevention later in life. Similarly, with your bone health, up until the late 20s, women are still developing peak bone mass. After that, it's about maintenance. So this is fundamental building block time for your muscle and your bone. Resistance training is one of the most effective ways to strengthen bones because it places healthy stress on them, simulating bone formation. The stronger the bones built during these years, the more protection against osteoporosis and fractures decades down the line. Hormone regulation is also a big one, so strength training during adolescence and young adulthood plays a crucial role in balancing key hormones that affect overall health. It improves insulin sensitivity, lowers the risk of weight gain, PCOS, and future metabolic diseases. By helping regulate cortisol, it reduces the negative effects of stress on mood and menstrual cycles. Strength training also supports healthy estrogen and progesterone levels, promoting reproductive health, stronger bones, and fewer PMS symptoms, typically before or during the menstrual cycle. Additionally, it supports growth hormone and testosterone in beneficial amounts, aiding in that muscle development and recovery. And then kind of lastly here, talking about body image and mental health. And honestly, this one can probably span across all age ranges, but young women are often drawn to cardio for weight management, like we just talked about. But strength training is key for building muscle, improving body composition, and supporting a healthy metabolism. Unlike dieting or excessive cardio, strength training helps maintain lean mass while reducing fat mass. Remember, we want lean mass, we want muscle over fat. That's our body composition. We want a higher ratio of muscle than fat, promoting sustainable long-term weight management. And then strength training also improves confidence, reducing anxiety, and promotes positive body image, which is, very crucial during identity forming years. So while this may not be relevant to you later on in womanhood, chances are you know a younger woman, and this really supports overall development. Reproductive age, so 20s into 40s, again, it's a range. It's a range. So I kind of want to give a little bit of a disclaimer here. During the reproductive years, women experience fluctuating hormones levels due to menstrual cycles, pregnancy, and sometimes even early perimenopause. It's important to acknowledge that not all women will choose to have children or be able to during this time, and that choice is fully valid and supported. Regardless of parenthood, strength training during these years lays a foundation for long-term health, functional health, and resilience. So while these years are labeled reproductive years, it's just the name of the life stage, regardless of your personal choices. For those who do choose pregnancy, strength training is shown to have multiple benefits. Research from the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists and the National Strength and Conditioning Association highlights that appropriate resistance training during pregnancy can reduce the risk of gestational diabetes and hypertensive disorders, support healthy weight gain during pregnancy, improve posture, and reduce common discomforts like low back pain, enhance stamina for labor and delivery, and aid in faster postpartum recovery by preserving muscle mass and core strength. But even for women not planning for pregnancy, strength training boosts hormonal health by improving insulin sensitivity and balancing estrogen metabolism, which can help PMS symptoms and support mood regulation. Kind of touching into muscle and bone again, we've already peaked. So adolescence, young adulthood, muscle mass and bone mass have already peaked. From here on out, we are talking about maintenance, maintaining those levels as best as we possibly can. So muscle mass naturally peaks during the previous life stage, making it an ideal time to build and maintain lean mass. Just because it peaks doesn't mean that you can't maintain and continue to build. So strength training stimulates muscle protein synthesis, helping women build strength, which helps boost resting metabolism. So again, that's that ratio. That's why we want more muscle than we want more fat. We want this active muscle tissue because it does help burn calories at rest. It's not astronomical. You're not burning 700 more calories because you're a little bit more muscular, but it does make a difference in life. Again, especially as we age. When it comes to bone health, again, another critical window. Women build most of their bone density by that late 20s, so kind of a little bit into that past life stage, but it can also lead into early 30s. So strength training applies mechanical load to the bones and helps maintain or even increase bone mineral density, which is a key factor in reducing osteoporosis later in life. For weight management, again, that body composition part is huge. Strength training is more effective than cardio alone. I'm not saying cardio is bad. I will never say cardio is bad, but it is not the only thing that you should be doing. So strength training is more effective than cardio just by itself for improving body composition. It increases muscle mass, which burns more calories at rest, helps regulate blood sugar levels, and prevents the cycle of muscle loss and fat gain that often comes with dieting and or aging. And of course, mental health benefits are significant. Strength training builds confidence, reduces anxiety, enhances mood, and fosters resilience during what can be an incredibly busy and demanding time of life. That mental health component stays the same all throughout these life stages. It is incredibly beneficial to mental health all throughout life. So perimenopause, this is, again, range, okay, 40s to early 50s. So perimenopause is a transitional phase leading up to menopause, marked by fluctuating and gradually declining estrogen and progesterone levels. These hormonal shifts can cause symptoms like irregular periods, sleep disturbances, mood swings, and changes in that body composition. Strength training becomes increasingly important during this stage to mitigate these changes. Resistance exercise, again, whatever form you like, helps improve insulin sensitivity, countering the increased risk of weight gain and metabolic syndrome as estrogen levels fluctuate. It also promotes the release of anabolic hormones like testosterone, which we don't normally get a lot of naturally, and growth hormone, which support muscle maintenance and mood stabilization. Muscle mass and bone health, here we are again. So muscle mass naturally begins to really decline in the 40s. This is a natural process called sarcopenia. It happens, we don't want it to happen, but it's going to happen. Without intervention, this is the key part. Without any intervention, women can lose up to 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade after age 30. Strength training counters this loss by stimulating muscle protein synthesis, helping preserve strength, function, and metabolic health. So it's going to happen regardless of what you do. But when you continue to strength train, when you do resistance exercises, you can help counter that. You can help maintain what you have established, or even a baseline. Say you've never resistance trained prior to now. Maybe this is your starting point. That's okay. You have a muscle mass right now, and without any intervention, you will continue to lose that muscle mass as you continue to age. But say you choose to start strength training now, you preserve that, you hold on to that, your body protects that because you have initiated strength training. Bone health, again, another critical focus. The rate of bone loss accelerates in perimenopause due to the decline of estrogen, increasing the risk of osteoporosis. Yeah, Paula plugged our group fitness class. We'll talk about those in the resources at the end. So weight bearing and resistance exercises apply a necessary mechanical stress to bones, stimulating bone formation and preserving density. Your body needs some type of stress to adapt to. And when I say stress, again, you don't have to step under a 400-pound barbell and start squatting. That is not the expectation. You do need to be doing a little bit more than you are now, especially if you're not currently strength training. Your body needs something to adapt to, and without that stimulus, why should your body adapt? Why should your muscles get stronger? Why should your bones stay strong? You have no stimulus that you're working with. For weight management, this stage often brings stubborn fat gain, especially around the midsection due to hormonal changes. It's normal. Strength training increases lean body mass, which elevates resting metabolic rate and improves overall body composition. Again, with that body composition, that just helps make weight maintenance more achievable, again, than relying on cardio or dieting alone. Cardio, again, fantastic, fantastic. It should not be the only thing that you are doing. And again, with dieting, diet and exercise, they have a wonderful relationship with each other. They are both necessary in terms of weight maintenance and management. And again, lastly, mental health can also take a hit during perimenopause with increased risks of anxiety, depression, and mood instability. Strength training has been shown to reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety through the release of endorphins, improve sleep quality, and enhance overall self-efficacy. So just your confidence. Menopause. These boxes look red. I promise they were supposed to look a little pink. This looks really aggressive. I'm so sorry about that. But menopause, again, a range, late 40s, mid to late 50s. So menopause is officially diagnosed after 12 consecutive months without a menstrual period. At this point, estrogen and progesterone levels have significantly declined, bringing a host of physiological changes that impact muscle, bone, metabolism, and your mental well-being. Think of estrogen as a protective shield for muscles, bone, metabolism. When estrogen declines, the body can become more prone to gaining fat, especially around the midsection, losing muscle, and even becoming more sensitive to stress. Strength training helps restore some balance by improving how the body handles blood sugar, reducing inflammation, and even lowering stress hormones like cortisol. It acts like a natural regulator to keep your body functioning more efficiently without relying on estrogen alone. Now, strength training is not going to fix all of the symptoms that come along with menopause, but it can help. It can help. It is a tool during this time. It's an important tool during this time. Regarding muscle loss accelerates post-menopause, leading to muscle weakness, reduced mobility, and increased risk of falls. Lifting weights or doing resistance exercises, again, that could be yoga or whatever you find most enjoyable, sends a strong signal to your body to keep and even build muscle, helping you stay strong, energized, and active. Again, we're in this part, and we've been in this part of use it or lose it. If your body has no reason to use muscle and to use bone strength, why would it care about keeping it? You have to provide some type of stimulus. For bone health, lower estrogen increases the risk of osteoporosis, so just weaker bones, making falls and fractures more dangerous. Resistance training stresses the bone in a good way, signaling them to stay dense and strong, much like how a muscle grows stronger with use. Many women notice weight creeping up during menopause, even without changing much of how they eat or move. A lot of this is due to hormonal shifts and muscle loss. By increasing that muscle mass, strength training helps burn more calories at rest, making it easier to manage body weight and reduce stubborn body fat. So it's a great tool for weight management. And then lastly, again, menopause often brings increased symptoms of depression, anxiety, brain fog, sleep disturbances. Research consistently shows that strength training reduces depressive symptoms, improves sleep quality, and enhances cognitive function, offering powerful support for your mental health. Now we're going to move into post-menopause. I did want to break these two up from menopause and post-menopause, kind of doing this as 55 to 60 and beyond. So the beyond age. So by the time women are well into post-menopause, so we're not talking you just became menopausal, you are well into post-menopause. The body has fully transitioned to a new hormonal baseline. So estrogen and progesterone levels remain low, which brings new health considerations. At this stage, strength training becomes essential for maintaining the ability to live independently, prevent chronic diseases, and stay mentally sharp. With age, daily activities, climbing stairs, getting up off the floor, carrying groceries can become so much harder if strength and balance are not maintained. Strength training directly supports functional movements, helping you stay mobile and capable. It's not about lifting heavy for the sake of it. It is about training your body to move confidently and safely. With estrogen no longer supporting bone remodeling, bone density declines, increasing the risk of fractures, especially hip and spine fractures. However, strength training, weight-bearing exercises apply, again, that right kind of stress to the bones, stimulating them to stay strong. Additionally, building lower body strength and improving balance through resistance exercises reduces fall risk, making injuries less likely in the first place. A slower metabolism after menopause can make weight gain more common. This isn't just about appearance. Visceral fat, which is the fat around your organs, increases the risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and certain cancers. Strength training increases muscle mass, again, boosting that resting metabolic rate, helping your body burn more calories at rest, also improving insulin sensitivity, blood pressure, cholesterol profiles, and inflammation levels, all of which are key for chronic disease prevention. I think this is probably the one life stage where the mental health differs a little bit in a more social way. Cognitive decline, depression, and social isolation can increase with age. Strength training has been shown to improve brain health, enhance mood, and boost self-confidence. It is also a fantastic way to stay socially connected, especially through group fitness or training with a friend. It's kind of how I mentioned earlier that you may not be in a certain life stage that we talked about, but chances are you know somebody who is, and we are all connected. We are all part of a larger community, and if we don't support ourselves, who will? We are the connection. We are the community. So just a quick summary of life stage considerations. We did talk about a whole lot. We talked about a whole lot, and that's okay. Life is long, hopefully. So starting with adolescence and young adulthood, main points: building a foundation of peak bone and muscle mass, moving into reproductive age, critical time for bone and muscle health and body composition, perimenopause, counteracting hormonal changes, and preventing muscle and bone loss, and then menopause and that postmenopause, preserving independence, bone health, metabolism, and cognition. So these are kind of the most important parts of each life stage. Muscle health and bone health will always be incredibly important, but especially when you get into menopause and beyond, it's less about lifting heavy, maybe hitting some PRs in the gym, although that is still completely reasonable. Do not let that limit you. It is more so about preserving your independence as you age. So now that we have talked about all of that, why strength training is fantastic, it's wonderful. How do you do it? How do you get started? So the NSCA, which is the organization that I have my personal training certification through, recommends beginners to start with 2 to 3 non-consecutive days per week of total body strength training to allow for recovery and adaptation. Non-consecutive just means that you can take a rest day after each day that you train. You can even take 2. It's going to depend a little bit for everybody else, and maybe you are more intermediate, advanced, If your schedule allows, if your lifestyle allows, you can always add in another session or two. Just make sure that you're listening to your body and recovering when you need to recover. For intensity, you want to choose weights that feel challenging by the last few reps, but allow for a good form. If you're giving about 60 to 80% of your effort, that is a good measure. Again, we talked about good stress for the muscles and the bones. You have to lift at a certain intensity that is just at least a little bit challenging. Again, 2 and 3 pound weights can be beneficial at certain points. In the long term, most likely not. Your body needs to have something to adapt to. Sets and reps can have a wide range depending on what your goals are, but for general fitness, sticking with 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps per exercise. What this looks like is, let's take squats, for example. You have 3 sets of 8 reps. So you're going to do 8 reps, rest, 8 reps, rest, 8 reps, rest, move on to your next exercise. That's all that sets and reps mean. Your focus is going to be on quality movement that challenges you rather, again, than doing one set for 50 reps using 2 pound weights. So you want to have some challenge for yourself. And then one session can have between 5 to 6 exercises focusing on major muscle groups. For a leg day, you may do 2 quad exercises, 2 hamstring exercises, a calf movement, and a glute movement. Those are your major muscle groups, at least for the lower body. But that was just an example. And this is an important part to get across, especially to women who I think we have been told cardio is pushed. Cardio is absolutely pushed, and that is fine in many cases, but your rest matters, especially for strength training. If you have ever taken any of my classes, I always say that if you don't feel like you need your rest, increase your weight or your intensity. And it is perfectly okay if you need a longer rest period than 90 seconds. You know, your endurance may improve over time and you may need less rest. You may be able to lift a heavier weight. Sometimes with lower body exercises, because those muscle groups are so large, you need 2 to 3 minutes to recover. That's perfectly fine. Take every exercise as it is, listen to your body. And lastly, well, I guess two kind of last points. Form first. Strength training can be incredibly safe if you first establish a foundation of safe lifting techniques. Be safe with it and then progress whatever weights that you're using. Lastly, please do some type of movement before your workouts to warm up. This can be 5-10 minutes of light exercises and dynamic stretching. Dynamic stretching includes stretches that you move through, that you are actively moving through and aren't holding for a long period of time. Those would be static stretches. So do not skip your warm-ups. Don't even skip your cool downs. You have to adequately prime the body for exercise. Helps avoid injury risk. This is just a super quick example. So on the, I guess if you're looking at, it's on the left, hopefully. This is an example of an upper body workout. So you have some rows, lat pull down for your back, some bicep curls, chest press, overhead tricep extensions, and a shoulder press. So you're hitting major muscle groups with different varying sets and reps. On the right, body weight squats, reverse lunges. I always recommend having a unilateral movement, a unilateral exercise where you're working with one leg or arm at a time. Helps improve balance and stability. Goblet squats for quads, RDLs, hamstrings on the back side of the leg, glute bridges, and banded hip abductions. So this is just a super quick example, kind of how you could set something like this up. Yes, importance of form is super important. And then we can absolutely do some demo videos in the future as well for some of these. I also, in this resource guide, if you will, first and foremost, our group fitness classes taught by me, Shannon, your on-site health coach, and Lisa, who is a employee who does Step and Sculpt. Wonderful classes, especially if you're not sure where to start out. But next after those, exercise libraries. So these are organizations that most personal trainers use. When you use exercise libraries, you can filter by muscle group. You could filter by equipment, and it will have a demo video for that exercise. YouTube also, if you search in there, how to do a deadlift, you will have a ton of videos. So you probably have to watch through a few of them, but these exercise libraries are short, quick. You can click on it. Here's your video. If you want to know a little bit more in depth about the exercise and for what you're doing it for, this fourth resource on here, Set for Set Exercise Article Library, it'll have an exercise, or it'll say something, don't quote me on it, but like top 5 exercises for your back. And it'll have an article telling you why those exercises are important and how to do them. So if you want a little bit more knowledge, that's a great resource. If you are struggling through any aches and pains, because that can definitely be an obstacle, like mentioned in the very beginning, we do have Hinge Health for those who are on the county medical plan. It is a free digital physical therapy program to kind of help you work through some of those aches and pains that may be limiting you. And then just quickly mentioning One Pass Select. This is a newer program that we have. This is going to be through UMR, so available to those on the county medical plan, as well as dependents, family, and friends of the person on the county medical plan. This is kind of like a gym membership. So you pay a monthly fee depending on which tier that you choose, and you get access to multiple gyms under that one monthly fee. I will be sharing the slide deck afterwards so that you can kind of click on these and go through them as well. Now, just kind of taking a second, this presentation has focused mainly on weight training and why it is so important, especially for women throughout life. But I also want to acknowledge that not everyone is going to love lifting weights, and that's okay. It'll break my heart, but that's okay. Strength training is not limited to dumbbells, barbells. Other forms of resistance training include yoga, Pilates, resistance band workouts, even swimming. They can all be fantastic ways to build strength, support muscle and bone health, and enjoy the same benefits that we have discussed. The key takeaway here is to find a form of movement that you enjoy, that challenges your muscles, and that you can do consistently. Progress comes from regular practice and gradually challenging your body, not from doing something perfectly. It is okay if you have a bad gym session. It is okay if you go in trying to lift a weight and you can't. It's okay if you can't make it through your yoga class. You are showing up consistently, and that is what matters. So whether it's weightlifting, yoga, body weight exercises, swimming laps, the best plan is the one that you can stick with and grow from. All right, that is the end of today's presentation.